Hello and welcome to Avalara's latest e-invoicing webinar, partner with Avalara Building Integrations. By way of background, I'm Alex Borth, the Senior Director at Avalara. I head up our product team, and I'm also responsible for our relationships with governments and influencer bodies. I'm a member of the European Commission's e-invoicing advisory group, and I'm also a board member of the US's Digital Business Network Alliance. I'm going to talk about that in a bit more detail later on. I'm really pleased to be joined today by my colleague, Eileen Kane. Eileen, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Eileen Kane. I'm one of our senior managers in our business development partner team. My role is working with our partners to help build integrations to our technology with a focus on e-invoicing and live reporting.
Thank you, Eileen. So in terms of today's agenda, I'm going to kick off with a bit of a recap on why we're here, the rise of e-invoicing around the globe. I'm also going to provide a snapshot on the latest e-invoicing news, the major mandates to look out for, as well as some recent updates. We're then going to provide an overview, a bit of a recap on Avalara's e-invoicing and live reporting SaaS solution. We're then going to look at our API, which is built on universal business language, and talk about how you as partners can connect to our solution to provide services to your customers. And we're going to provide a demonstration of the solution. So hopefully you know about Avalara already. We've been disrupting the status quo of global tax management since 2004, headquartered and founded in the US. Today, we're very much a global company. We work with businesses to reduce risk, streamline processes, and ultimately help businesses achieve compliance. And this is very much built on our strong partnerships all across the globe. Avalara provides end-to-end indirect tax compliance solutions across the entire life cycle. So everything from registrations for VAT, GST, sales tax, as well as registering for PEPL, for e-invoicing. We have solutions for classification, so identifying the correct HS code that drives customs duty and import VAT. We're best known for our tax calculation engine, Avatax. So this has a wealth of knowledge for sales and use tax, VAT, GST, as well as customs duty. And in fact, in 2022, over 39.6 billion calls were made to our API. We also provide invoicing through our e-invoicing and live reporting solution. And obviously that is the focus of today's webinar. This covers business to business to consumer, as well as public procurement under business to government. The solution also provides real-time live reporting to tax authorities and can cope with a number of different global e-invoicing models, including clearance. We can add QR codes, we can create PDF human readable invoices, and we're also an access point to various networks, including the PEPL network. And then finally, the final piece of the indirect tax lifecycle and puzzle is returns and reporting. So we have a SaaS VAT reporting solution that provides the ability to prepare and submit VAT GST returns in an automated manner. And that also covers additional supplementary returns such as EC sales lists, interest stats, various ledgers, and SAFTs. So following on from the last partner webinar, which you can still watch anytime on demand, I'm going to provide a bit of a recap on the rise of e-invoicing globally. So why are governments and tax authorities introducing e-invoicing and e-reporting? This is the clear direction of travel. And almost every region in the world is seeing mandates crop up almost on a daily basis. And one of the clear reasons for this is the need to protect and generate more and more tax revenue. Tax revenue is more important than ever, particularly in a post-pandemic environment. Governments want to reduce the VAT gap. The VAT gap is the amount of tax that should be collected but isn't. And at the last count within the European Union, the VAT gap stood at over 93 billion euros. Globally, it's estimated that number could be as high as around $400 million. And therefore, it's a little surprise that tax authorities want to achieve more. They want to reduce risk, they want to identify fraud, and they also want to prevent errors. And at the moment, they have very limited tools. The majority of countries still receive periodic VAT returns, which just have summarized data. They don't really provide enough insights. And those returns are submitted periodically, monthly, in some countries, quarterly. It's really too little too late. So the move to e-invoicing, e-reporting or live reporting is to provide tax authorities with more granular information in real time. They want true visibility on every single transaction, and they want the ability to approve an invoice before it's even issued to the customer. And tax authorities are going on their own digital transformation journey. It's not just our customers. They're becoming more data savvy. They're investing in technology, and even the type of hires and auditors are changing. A tax inspector is now just as likely to use data analytics, machine learning, AI. So we're going to start to see not only a move away from just periodic returns, but a whole change in how tax authorities will audit a business. It becomes a continuous compliance cycle. Every day, every single transaction. So on the screen now, you'll see a nice graphic from our friends at PwC. This provides a nice overview of the trajectory of the growth of e-invoicing. So you'll see the flags. This represents countries that have implemented some sort of digital reporting of tax obligations. And if you look, year on year, this just continues to grow. Over the next 3 to 5 years, this won't fit on a single slide because just more and more countries, if not every country in the globe, will implement some form of e-invoicing or live reporting. I'm now going to provide a bit of an overview of recent mandate news, so an update on certain mandates in Europe, and also a recap of some of the upcoming or latest mandates across Asia Pacific. I'm also going to talk about the US. And while tax may not be the main driver there, there's an exciting update on the Federal Reserve's market pilot for e-invoicing and the establishment of a brand new organization and network that will lead to the spread of e-invoicing across the US and North America. So this is a timeline, in effect, showing the rise of e-invoicing over the last 20 years, as well as looking forward across the next 5 years. If you look at the first column, really over the last decade, even as far back as 20 years, e-invoicing really started to take off in Latin America. It was LATAM that was the real trailblazer for e-invoicing. Chile and Brazil, soon followed by virtually every single country on the continent. And where we saw e-invoicing in Europe, it was really limited to public procurement, business to government. We saw European legislation creating a common European e-invoicing standard. We also saw legislation around public procurement, forcing governments, government agencies and bodies to be able to receive e-invoices. And then several EU member states then went a step further to actually mandate the receipt of B2G e-invoicing. But since Italy in 2019, so Italy was the first EU member state to mandate business-to-business e-invoicing, we've seen more and more European countries announce plans for e-invoicing. Serbia became the second country in Europe from January 2022. And suddenly, we're now seeing the spread of e-invoicing across the entire region. Next year, we're going to see Poland mandate e-invoicing from July. Romania is likely to announce and confirm mandatory e-invoicing next year too. France and Spain, well, we had anticipated mandates in 2024, and I'm going to provide a bit of an update on those two countries in a minute. It's likely we're going to see delays there. That's been confirmed in France. Spain is likely to follow too. But we've also seen lots of new mandates be announced across the globe. Malaysia will start an e-invoicing mandate, starting with very large companies from July next year. Israel has announced a B2B e-invoicing mandate that will involve the registration of all invoices over a certain monetary value, and that monetary value will go down each year over the next 4 to 5 years, and each invoice will be given a unique number, a reference. And in order for the customer to be able to recover the VAT as input tax, they need to have that number, and there's reporting related to that too. And then as we look further afield, Germany is likely to introduce mandatory e-invoicing from January 2026. Germany's now received a derogation from the European Commission. It's just finalizing its timeline. There is draft legislation and a draft plan, but that will be a very huge mandate. And I know a lot of German companies are already starting to plan and assess the impact. We then have VIDA, or VAT in the digital age. So this was a big proposal released in December last year. It's still being discussed in the European Parliament. It will ultimately be put to a vote in the European Council. There are currently about 200 proposed amendments, but there is consensus that something will happen. And ultimately, every single intra-community transaction within the EU will require e-invoicing and real-time reporting of that transaction by both the supplier and the customer. So moving away, again, from that summary, high-level EC sales list reporting. That date is slated for January 2028. It's possible that date may be moved out a year or two. But the main message there is that is not the starting gun. That VIDA reform is really the finishing line. And what it does, it provides clarity to EU member states who haven't yet announced their e-invoicing mandates, what the rules of the game are, what the model must look like, what the format, the standard. And most EU member states are likely to introduce mandatory domestic B2B e-invoicing as well to complement the mandatory cross-border model too. So I mentioned there's been a change in France. We were anticipating mandatory e-invoicing for large companies from the 1st of July 2024, so next year. And from that same date, all companies and all businesses of all sizes would need to be in a position to receive e-invoices. At the end of July this year, just ahead of the vacation period in France, the French government released a press release, and this confirmed that the mandate is being postponed to provide more time for businesses to prepare. We also understand the building of the platform, the PPF, is going to take a bit longer to roll out. So at the moment, this looks like businesses, ERPs, service providers are going to have more time to prepare. While we don't know the exact dates, this is likely to be confirmed in the finance bill, which is likely to be released in December. There are currently rumors the new date is likely to be July 2026, although we will understand more in the next few months. What I would say is that this project doesn't stop. Avalara is still working with the French authorities, a member of various working groups, and working as a candidate PDP with the French tax authorities. But what this does do, it provides more time for everyone to get ready, assess the data, understand the flows, and really understand the impact to business process. In Spain, again, we were anticipating an e-invoicing mandate around the same timeline as France. The Spanish Gazette officially published the law that created the e-invoicing mandate. However, we're now realizing there's likely to be a delay. There's been a general election in Spain. There's been a public consultation on the scope of the mandate, everything from the process, the flows, the document types, the scope, whether there's going to be exemptions for certain businesses. While we've seen some draft technical requirements, and there has been working groups between the Spanish authorities and some major ERP providers, it's likely there will be delay, both the legislation and also the mandate coming into force. I can't see this coming into play before Q4 2024. It's now likely and rumored that the mandate will now come in from January 2025. So again, providing more time for the technical requirements to be released, and both businesses, ERPs and service providers, more time to prepare. And I wanted to provide a bit of an overview of PEPL, because this is very much linked to the rise of e-invoicing across the globe. So PEPL was originally just a pan-European e-invoicing organization. It was a network and a common European standard implemented for public procurement. It was built to meet the new European e-invoicing standard, EM 16931. If you're not familiar with that standard, you will be soon, because that plays a very key role in VIDA, VAT in the digital age. This common format, PEPL BIS 3, is a compliant implementation of that standard. And therefore, any government or public authority in the EU can use that PEPL network to receive e-invoices to meet its obligations under a European directive. So it's a common set of standard specifications. It's an open network where buyers and sellers can exchange messages and specifically invoices. And it's supported by a legal framework that defines the governance. So, for example, Avalara, as a certified PEPL provider, has a certificate which is a key to the network. And only certified providers can access the network, ensuring that it's secure and ensuring that interoperability is achieved. So even though PEPL was born in Europe, it's now very much a global network. So PEPL has been proven, and it's been used in 34 countries over the last 12 years. And it's therefore a little surprise that we've seen it be extended across the globe. So Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Japan have all set up PEPL authorities and have all promoted PEPL and pushed PEPL as the network of choice and the format to be used for e-invoicing locally. So PEPL works using something called the four-corner model. This is where a service provider, a certified PEPL provider, such as Avalara, sits in corners 2 or corner 3. And that means that Avalara will take the data, the invoice from the supplier, from their system, through our API integration. We will convert that to the relevant format to meet the local standards. We will validate that invoice. We will then send that invoice to the trading partner's service provider. Of course, again, that could be Avalara, but it could be a different service provider. And that's one of the great things. It's an open network. There are no roaming charges. You're not penalized if you use a different network provider. So really moving away from the historic legacy procurement network model, where one trading partner, a vendor or a customer may put pressure on you commercially to join a particular network. So I wanted to provide a bit of an update on some of these PEPAL countries, particularly in Asia Pacific. So first of all, Singapore. So Singapore does, in effect, have a business to government mandate for e-invoicing, if not in law, in practice. But it has been announced that in the coming years, the only way to e-invoice the Singapore government will be through the PEPAL network. Singapore is really trying to promote e-invoicing to help digitalize the economy, and in particular, get SMEs issuing and receiving e-invoices. So to help with this, there are actually grants available, incentives and credits for both large enterprises and SMEs. So for a business to connect their finance ERP system to the PEPAL network, or Invoice Now, as it's known in Singapore, you can receive grant funding of up to 30,000 Singapore dollars, as well as further incentives to actually send and receive e-invoices. And for SMEs, there's actually a transaction bonus too. So every time they send one e-invoice, they can receive 50 Singapore dollars, up to 150 Singapore dollars when they send 9 or more. So, really good incentive there. And something that's driving adoption. We're seeing this network effect. And for any ERP business platform providers, if you don't have a PEPAL access point, if you're not able to join the network, if you're not able to produce compliant invoices across Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Japan, which I'm going to talk about in a bit more detail, please do reach out, talk to Avalara, because we can help you. So PEPAL has also landed in Japan, and the background here is that Japan is implementing a whole new tax invoice system, and this is to support their existing Japanese consumption tax, or JCT. These changes take effect from the 1st of October 2023, so not long now. Historically, there's been less onerous invoicing requirements, with other documents and accounting records used to evidence JCT. But going forward, businesses will be required to retain qualified invoices that fulfill certain conditions, and they need to do this in order to recover JCT, so to claim input tax credits. And this also puts a requirement on suppliers to issue these qualified invoices. E-invoicing is not being mandated, but the PEPAL network and a new Japanese PINT, the JP PINT standard, is being put forward as an option to meet these new obligations. And we're already seeing a lot of demand and interest across Japan from ERPs, business platforms, and Japanese businesses themselves. So the JP PINT is a new invoice standard. It's based on the PEPAL International Standard, or PINT. Japan has implemented this to meet local Japanese standards. Bit of background, PINT allows shared rules, almost on a 80% basis, 15% localization for the country, and then 5% additional changes maybe at an industry level. This will ultimately support self-billing, and Japan has also developed a standard for non-tax invoices as well, so those can still be shared on the PEPAL network. If you'd like to learn more about this and how Avalara can support you, please do reach out. We'd be more than happy to talk to you about this in more detail. So Avalara can be your trusted partner for PEPAL. We are an accredited PEPAL access point in Australia, New Zealand, and Japan. We're a certified PEPAL service provider with Open PEPAL and with the German PEPAL Authority. So through an API connection from your ERP, billing system, business platform, marketplace, you can connect to Avalara's e-invoicing and live reporting solution, and we can provide you with an access point into that PEPAL network. We're a member of Open PEPAL, and we're very much part of the discussion there too. Finally, I wanted to talk about what's going on in the US. So many of you will be aware there's been something called a market pilot in the US to, in effect, build a common network with a common standard to drive further adoption of e-invoicing in the US. This was an initiative with the Federal Reserve and the Business Payments Coalition. So this pilot has been a success. The pilot is now over. And what we've seen is the creation of a not-for-profit called the Digital Business Network Alliance. So this will oversee the broad ecosystem of operators and customers within this new e-delivery network. It will manage the network, the standards, the specifications, and the governance, ultimately providing certificates to ensure the network's secure. And I can announce I've just been elected to the board of directors for the DBNA, which I'm very excited about and very humbled to be elected by our fellow service providers, a really good community. And this is huge because even though tax is not the driver, we know in the US there isn't a VAT, the state and local tax. There's over 10,000 different sales and use tax jurisdictions. But what we're going to see is wide adoption because we're moving away from 300-400 different standards, different networks, platforms, portals that businesses use for procurement, and moving to a single network with a single standard. So this is a huge opportunity for ERPs to become ready to support the network and provide this connectivity for all of your customers and their trading partners. So the DBNA digital highway for B2B will be available to all businesses via a DBNA accredited service provider later this year. Next year, the network will be fully operational. And again, a huge, huge opportunity and something we haven't seen in the US before. So just to provide a high-level overview of the new US exchange framework and network, it's an exchange network based on a four-corner model, so very similar to PEPL, but it's not PEPL. So even if you have access to the PEPL network, you have a service provider there, this is different. It will require a new endpoint. You will still need to use an accredited DBNA service provider. The invoice data structure is based on universal business language, same as Avalara's API. And again, very similar to PEPL, join the network and you'll have access to issue and receive e-invoices to every single business on that network. So a huge opportunity for ERPs, business platforms, to provide this connectivity for your customers and their trading partners. Right, I'm now going to hand over to my colleague Eileen, who's going to provide an overview of Avalara's e-invoicing and live reporting next generation solution, as well as setting out the different options available to partners in order to work with us and take advantage of this opportunity.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for that update. Looking forward to showing you, talking through how we can help support our partners. Following on from Alex's updates, I'm sure you can understand the complexity that is being introduced from the tax authorities across the globe, and Avalara has really developed a solution to help our partners and businesses and consulting firms to handle this complexity through one way to comply. We have built a solution that will allow our customers and our partners to support to meet the growing mandates through one solution rather than managing multiple solutions across the globe. So Avalara's e-invoicing and live reporting solution, also known as ELR, is a global solution. We have built a global API, which is a single, seamless, scalable solutions for business and software providers. So just to give an overview of Avalara's journey on the e-invoicing and live reporting solution, we acquired a business Imposia, who were providing a professional service developed solution. And we have now taken that legacy product and we've moved it into a API first solution, really to support a scalable solution for our partners to provide these solutions to their customers, to make sure they can handle the growing changes across the globe. So our solution is this one global API, allows for the creation and transmission of e-invoicing, as well as the receipt of e-invoicing in a standardized format, the UBL 2.1. We, also handle all of the requirements that come along with these changing mandates, such as digital archiving, digital signatures, QR code creations, as well as supporting any e-reporting or live reporting mandates. So rather than businesses and business platforms having to find local solutions as mandates come into effect, they're able to work with Avalara to have one global solution. So what does that look like? Avalara's e-invoicing and live reporting solution is integrates into our partners' business platform. So anywhere that a invoice is being raised, we can work with our partners to build integrations through our single global API. Partners who built those integrations will send those data to Avalara E-Invoicing in the UBL 2.1 format, and then we handle everything from there. We take that data, we convert it into the required formats by each of the tax authorities, and then we map and transmit that data to each of those tax. We're also, as Alex mentioned, able to transmit via the PEPL network, and we can deliver to end customers as well. We're also able to receive invoices from those tax authorities, convert that, and transmit that back to the tax authorities. So we really have built a centralized solution that will allow our partners to provide the requirements and functionality to their customers through one integration. So now we'll show you a pre-recorded demo of the solution.
I'm going to talk you through an end-to-end demonstration of the Polish B2B e-invoicing mandate that utilizes the KSF platform in Poland. I'm starting here in Postman. It is a third-party application that does allow us to send invoice information and data via the API to the ELR, e-invoicing and live reporting solution. So you can see here that I do have an invoice that's been pre-created in the UBL 2.1 format. And there are two elements of data that we do send and we require to be sent to ELR. The first is metadata. This does describe the workflow that's being run, also the format of the data. So you can see here it does state it's UBL, it's an invoice, and it's 2.1. Also the country code, which in this case is Poland, and the country mandate. This is a unique Avalara tag. We've defined this as Poland B2B e-invoice. The second piece of information is the invoice itself. This is in XML structure and it's in the UBL 2.1 format. Across all of our different mandates and countries that we support, it is the same format of data. Obviously, the information within that will be specific to that country. So within here, we do have all of the information for this Polish invoice that I'm going to be sending. So what I'm first do is click send. This is just triggering this post API call documents, and this is being sent to Avalara. In an ERP system, in an accounting system, it's exactly the same principle applies. You will just trigger a button or some form of way to send this invoice to ELR. We've now got a unique ID. This is an Avalara unique ID. It tags this transaction so we can follow it through the journey. What I'm now going to do is flip over to our Avalara ELR monitor. And this allows you to see all of the information around this transaction, whether it's been successfully sent through. Also, you can actually see the underlying e-invoice as well. So this is the invoice that I've just sent. So you can see here it's 2:17 p.m. UK time, so just around a minute ago. And it's my invoice that's been sent to a Polish customer B2B. The great news here is it is complete. So this means that it's been sent to the KSF platform. And you can see here it is an invoice. There are some statuses that you can see, and this is specific again for each country and for each mandate, but this does describe the process that's taken place. And within this folder, you can also see the inbound invoice. So this is the invoice that's come from the source system into ELR in that UBL format. So you can see that if you need to do any troubleshooting. But we also do provide the official e-invoice that's been now created in the Polish schema that's been sent to the KSF platform. There's other features within here. You can view the insights. You can see transactions that's been sent today. You can also see numbers of documents that's been sent by partners. Also, if there were any errors, you can drill through to those errors. But today we have most incomplete, and there's a couple that are currently pending to be sent. The next step I'm going to do is go into the actual KSF platform itself. So I'm going to log in utilizing the NIP number that I've used to send this invoice. And this will allow me to see this invoice that I've sent from the source system, which in my case was Postman, to the Avalara ELR system. Avalara ELR has then converted that into the right format for Poland, into the correct schema, and sent it to the KSF platform. And the final piece is we can now look into this invoice list within here, and we can see that invoice being created. So this is the invoice number here. As you can see, it's the same 448 invoice that we're seeing in our monitor. Within Poland, the KSF platform actually creates a PDF with all the information that's been sent through within that XML in a standard format. So every single customer and supplier will receive exactly the same format of invoice, just data relating to that transaction. And you can see at the bottom here, it has been created by the Avalara E-Invoicing solution.
So I hope that gives everyone an overview of what our solution looks like, and we can talk a little bit more now about what are the options for our partners to build integrations. There are three primary ways that partners engage with Avalara. We have a network of thousands of partners who refer business to Avalara. We also have partners who work with us to provide services to our customers. So they build out their professional service practices by becoming certified implementation partners of Avalara solutions. And then the third way, which is where we're focusing today, is building integrations. So partners can develop certified integrations to our solutions or embed Avalara solutions into their technology platforms. So we'll go through the difference of those two options today around developing a certified integration or connector and embedding Avalara E-Invoicing into your solution. So those partners who choose to build integrations are our technology partners, and they are connecting our solutions to their platforms wherever transactions occur. So Avalara is providing the technology to allow businesses to, meet their indirect tax requirements. As Alex discussed at the beginning, we can provide that calculation to e-invoicing and reporting. And we work with technology partnerships to build connectors and extractors with their systems so that when their customers need those requirements, they have that functionality built within their platform. So there's two ways that technology partners can work with us, and it's either building that connector to ELR to ensure that Avalara is handling their e-invoicing and live reporting requirements, or embedding or private labeling the solution within their platform. And depending upon the needs of our partners and their customers, technology partners can choose which way to engage with Avalara e-invoicing solution. So what does that mean? The difference between developing a connector or a certified integration and embedding and bundling Avalara's e-invoicing solution. So for any technology build, the connection to our solution needs to happen. So you're building that integration to your business application and obtaining that certification. For partners who just want to provide options to their customers, they can build that connector that is certified. We then can work with those partners to market to your customer base, where you're referring those customers to Avalara, and Avalara manages the relationship directly with your customers. And the bonus or the added benefit of that for our partners is that we have a revenue share program for any referred partners that use your integrations. You are able to benefit from that revenue share. The other option is embedding and bundling Avalara e-invoicing and live reporting into your technology platform. And this means that you are doing a more extensive development where you have built to our certified connections to our API. You're also building to our business API for automatic provisioning, and you are fully embedding our solution into your platform as a default technology for your customers to handle their e-invoicing and live reporting requirements. The difference between the two is if a partner is just developing a connector and referring, Avalara is building that relationship, is working with the partner, but building relationship directly with your customers. When our partners embed and bundle Avalara, that relationship is between Avalara and our partners, and they are offering a bundled price then to their customers and merchants. So it really becomes an extension of your platform functionality. You continue to own the relationship with your customers, and you're owning the user experience with Avalara supporting you on the technology. So the options, are there for you to decide what suits you, your business platform best, and what suits your customers' needs appropriately. So we're happy to discuss how each program works, and really understand what would fit your needs. So to wrap up, there are 3 steps for our partners and their customers to meet the global e-invoicing and live reporting mandates. The first step is really for our partners to work with Avalara to integrate the service. So understand getting that integration to the global API. And building that full integration, as well as looking at potential options to embed the solution. The second step is once that integration is built and the functionality is ready for your customers to use, is really how do we onboard those customers to Avalara. So through a direct onboarding relationship, or if it's through an automated provisioning API for our embedded models, getting your customers up and activated to have Avalara, supporting their requirements. And then the third step is really down to your users. They activate the countries that they require, They then can start using the functionality, and they're ready to handle, any of the requirements that are the current requirements and future requirements. And as the new and mandates or come into effect, Avalara will switch those on, and your customers will be ready to comply. So that's Avalara's e-invoicing and live reporting solutions, and the options for our partners to work with us to build technology integrations. Please let us know if you have any questions, and I'll and we're happy to talk through the ways of working together. That's everything for me. Thanks everyone for your time today. Please get in touch, and over to you, Alex.
Thanks, Eileen. Really interesting, and so many opportunities for partners to get involved and collaborate with Avalara. So I hope you found this webinar informative and useful. As ever, if you have questions, please do get in touch. Please reach out to your strategic alliance manager, or you can email us at partnerwithus@avalara.com. Please do continue to follow me on LinkedIn, where you'll see various technical updates as well as thought leadership on e-invoicing and live reporting across the globe. We've really enjoyed having you with us today. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.